Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Crypto Take over here, coming back with another Bitcoin cryptocurrency video. We're taking a look at two articles today, going over the charts. Bitcoin kind of seeing a little bit of a sell-off, sitting right at about $36,000 as of right now, as we're making this video. We'll take a look at the charts a little bit later on. First, let's jump into our articles first. First, we have a CoinDesk article. First mover Biden $1.9 trillion plan shows blue wave Bitcoiners saw coming. Interesting. Says the Federal Reserve might need to print money to help finance Biden's coronavirus relief proposal to keep Treasury bond interest rates from crumbling. Okay, climbing. Okay, so interest rates from climbing. Okay, interesting. So we'll take a look at that here in a second, and then we'll also go over to Business Insider. Bitcoin slides back below $35,000 as volatility trading week comes to a close. And very interesting, folks. All right, we'll take a look at that. Let's go ahead and cue that intro and get started. All right, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this video with your friends and family if they are interested in cryptocurrency. We have links in the description box below too that help support the channel. But most of all, if you want to freely support that channel, click the thumbs up button. I appreciate it, folks. All right, taking a look at our CoinDesk article here. We are moving into our market moves. As a move, $42,000 was likely seen as resumption of the heady gains we saw last week. Warner says prices are above 29% so far in 2021 versus 0.4 year-to-date loss for the Standard Poor's 50 index of large 50 U.S. stocks. Okay, 500 U.S. stocks. So the S&P 500. Obviously, this is just talking about Biden's plans, I guess, to maybe help the stock market, I'm assuming. First Mover wrote last October how a blue wave in the upcoming U.S. elections, full control of the government by Joe Biden's Democratic Party, could lead to trillions of dollars of new government spending on coronavirus relief and economic stimulus. So I think Biden's plan is to mainly just continue printing money, right? As we continue into 2021 and possibly having more stimulus packages being passed to as well, which would overall lead to a devaluation of the dollar and probably a super hyperinflation event to occur for the US dollar. That wave has arrived in the form of $1.9 trillion corona relief package proposed late Thursday by the US President-elect Biden, and some Wall Street analysts are now wondering openly if the economy and markets are becoming hooked on stimulus. The market is back to an expectation that more official stimulus is all but inevitable. Ed Mills of the stock brokerage firm Raymond James wrote early Friday in a note to clients, cryptocurrency investors could jump straight to the implication the Federal Reserve might need to print trillions of new dollars to help finance an extra borrowing by the U.S. Treasury Department. That in turn could spur more demand for Bitcoin, seen by a growing number of investors as a hedge against inflation. And so there you have it, folks. Obviously, if this is to happen, we're going to probably see a lot of people start to move towards Bitcoin once again. Stimulus targets could steadily increase on any setbacks with the coronavirus pandemic, and that has been one of the fundamental reasons why many continue to pile into Bitcoin. Edward Moya, a New York-based senior market analyst for the London-based foreign exchange broker, wrote an emailed note. Let's see. Biden's proposal announced in a speech, it marks $1 trillion for families and individuals and more than $400 billion to combat the pandemic directly, including money to accelerate vaccine deployment and safely reopen schools. According to New York Times, there's also $350 billion for aid in state and local governments. Democrats set to become the majority party in both chambers of Congress might use a budget reconciliation process to push legislation through a simple majority of votes. So we would note that it would not prevent from the second reconciliation package later this year. So this is mainly just about, I guess, about his plans. And here we have a nice little chart that we can look at too, the federal debt, total public debt, and it is continuing to rise here, and that's pretty substantial for the most part. Ever since early or late couple past years, the total federal debt has continued to rise too as well. Interesting chart there to take a look at if you're interested. All right, so let's move back over here. So that was that. I think that's going to do it for this video or this article here today. But just talking about how Biden is planning to probably implement more stimulus packages back into the U.S. economy to help stimulate U.S. economic growth once again. So very interesting, but also definitely leading to a super hyper inflation event that could occur, right? So we are being ready for that if that is to occur, and we know where we're buying. We know where we're putting our stimulus at. That's for sure. All right, let's move on over into our next article here, folks. We have Biden slides Bitcoin. Bitcoin slides back to $35,000 as volatility trading week comes to a close. Taking a look at our article here, Bitcoin slid on Friday as investors took profits from the volatility trading. The cryptocurrency fell as much as 11% to $34,000 at an intraday low. The slide closes out Bitcoin's second most volatile week in the last 3 years. Choppy trading saw the token climb as much as 41,400 and fall as low as $30,000. The week also saw more voices dismiss the cryptocurrency as a dangerous market bubble. Billionaire investors Mark Cuban likened it to the internet stocks of the dot-com era, and European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde deemed it as a high speculative asset, which has conducted some funny business. Watch Bitcoin trade live here. Okay, so yeah, and we've seen Mark Cuban flip-flop back and forth on cryptocurrency, so not anything new for us here with these billionaires just flip-flopping all over the place. I would hate to see these guys day trade, to be honest. I would really hate to see these guys day trade. They would probably be all over the place, but and also that's probably why they don't day trade. They mainly just buy and hold. I've also heard that Mark Cuban had been on Coinbase, early adopter of Coinbase too, and had left his crypto on there. So yeah, it's mainly just about getting in early too as well. And we talk about some of the altcoins that we're getting into early on our Patreon page as well. So if you want to join us on our Patreon page, we talk about some of these alts that have not risen to their full potential yet, such as DOT. DOT had been performing so crazy these past couple of days. I mean, very cool. I told my Patreon page to get in on DOT several months ago too as well. We had continuously started drawing out the patterns on the charts for DOT, and lo and behold, we've hit both of our price targets on DOT too as well. We'll take a look at those charts here in a second. Take a look at DOT too, but that's just one of our many altcoin assets that we've been getting into as well. So Bitcoin dipped on Friday of less volatility trading. Prices pulled back below $35,000, is clearing $40,000 the day prior. The cryptocurrency fell as much as 11% to 34,400 at intraday lows. The week's choppy price action saw cryptocurrency rise from 41,000 and fall as low as 30,000 after clearing the 2017 peak of December and doubling nearly 42,000 in the new year. Bitcoin has fluctuated as investors weigh securing profits against missing out on additional gains. The token currently trades roughly 25% higher year to date, but about 11% below the early January record. And so that's another thing too as well, is that as we see these institutional investors come into this market, I mean, they're going to pump so much money into it to where Bitcoin's probably just going to continue to take off. But when they take profit, man, they're going to take profit, and you're going to see these $1,000 dips with Bitcoin too as well, with as much profit taking from such investors and such as MicroStrategies and stuff too, getting in on the action here too as well. So the profit taking is going to happen. The $1,000 dips are going to occur too. We just have to know to lock in profit. If you are trading this market, know to just lock in your profit and be okay with that. Usually the pumps occur and then you have a little bit of a settling period. And so during that settling period, you should just go ahead and lock in your profits most of the time too as well. So let's see here. As a growing chorus, voices demand the crypto trade a bubble throughout the week, liken it to the dot-com bubble in the 1990s. Billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban has said the token is exactly a stock market. Oh, okay, I don't really care what Mark Cuban has to say. He's flip-flopping all over the place. I would hate to see that boy day trade. Wall Street just drools over the word crypto anytime it sees, but without understanding all of any of its at all time, and surprised Wall Street does anything that shows exponential price growth would get their interest. Michael Every, a global strategist, has said the price is fluctuating between support levels that could pave the way for record highs as a far deeper threat. Relative strength index for Bitcoin tracking momentum in the past 14 days. And so one of the things also that we had been looking at on the charts, which we'll go ahead and jump over here to in a second, is that our money flow had been kind of thinning out, which obviously means a low volume, but with price pumpage being easily whiplashing back and forth too, with such low money, which with such a thin money flow too on the charts, we're definitely going to see these volatility moves to occur. But as of right now, we're still ranging in between certain areas, and we've actually talked about these areas. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on over into the charts and go ahead and get started on the chart action. All right, folks. So we're taking a look at the charts. Bitcoin right now sitting right at about $36,000. Pretty much even right at about 36,000. We did have this crazy little dip here after our peak at about $40,000 or so, and then we had the dip all the way back down to 34,000 area. So we had a price target drawn out here on yesterday's video. You can take a look at that. We ended up hitting that price target right underneath $40,000 or so. And then we had this nice little sell-off here. So one thing that we could start to draw out here, which I'm going to take off our fib levels because I believe that we can probably come back to that a little bit later on. I don't think we need it right now necessarily. But one thing that I am noticing here is that if we start to zoom in on our 45-minute time frame, this was one of our key levels of support, resistance right above head, and this is where we had our price target drawn out here. So you can see our green trend line acting as resistance as of right now, and that's where we found the resistance. Then blood diamond, that was a nice little signal for us to probably go ahead and, hey, get out of this market, take your profit, set your stop loss in profit, so that way you can make sure that you get out in that profit too as well. And that's pretty much what we did, and that's one of the key things to take away from trading too as well, is like once these pumps occur, just know to take your profit. Hey, you can enter again, but set that stop loss and make sure that you're in profit too as well, right? So cool stuff there. If you were trading this market, and our Patreon page was also trading this market with us too. So don't forget to come over there and join us in our private trading group. If you want to pay with crypto, message me in Discord, and I'll get you all set up. We pretty much post everything inside of our Discord page. Our Patreon website is basically just a payment processor for credit cards and debit cards too as well. So what we're looking at here on these lower time frames, such as the 45-minute, is we're starting to see some support being formed down here as well too. This is what I'm going to consider as our next support line. So if we come over here and we start to draw this all the way out, we do see our overhead resistance line with our green trend line here, but also we see this purple support line down here. We can draw that further out too as well, and this is our consolidation range. This is more likely going to be our next consolidation range for us too as well. You can see here that we had another purple trend line down there forming a nice support for us. So what I'm looking for is probably a consolidation out to the side here, probably putting in some type of a three-wave structure here. So if we are to draw it out, we could say A, B, and then C, and then either up or down. We'll have to see how this wants to zigzag out here in the near-term future. So that's what I'm kind of taking a look at, is that more likely we're going to end up consolidating around this range between the $32,000 area. So somewhere between 32,000 and then also probably somewhere in between 39,000. These are going to be our consolidation areas. We're probably going to play this all the way out to a consolidation out to the side, and then maybe end up making a big move from there. So I definitely think this is going to be a huge move when it is to occur. Once we get our consolidation, this is probably going to be a substantial move. If we are to take some of our extensions, we have probably a 31% move that is to occur. If we move to the upside, it's going to be about 26%. And then that could lead us all the way up to maybe our next price target at about 51, right underneath $50,000 or so. So that was definitely another fib level that we were looking at. If we are to move to the downside, I mean, we're looking at a pretty big sell-off all the way back down to about $21,000 or so. But all right, so with that being said, we got our trend lines drawn out. We got our price targets kind of set for our next consolidation phase too as well. Now what we're going to take a look at is our Cipher B and our market cipher indicator too as well. And folks, if y'all are interested in picking up the market cipher indicator, which we use pretty much daily on our charts, it's our bread and butter on our charts. There's a link in the description box below to pick up the market cipher indicator by CryptoFace. I do believe CryptoFace is still trying to get his YouTube channel back right now. He could be moving to Twitch. I'll keep y'all up to date on that too, since I'm in his whale crew and everything. He keeps us up to date there. So looking here at the 2-hour chart, we do have a nice little move with money flow starting to thin out here, but also kind of making its way back up, possibly back at the zero pivot point. We did find a little bit of resistance at the zero pivot point, and now we're starting to see it kind of retrace back down. So let's zoom in and we'll zoom back out really quick and just kind of see. You can also see that our 3-hour is starting to thin out with money flow. flow, and so is our 4-hour and our 5-hour. 4-hour not so much thinning out too much, but definitely seeing momentum waves start to move back to the downside. So we could still have a little bit of selling pressure. Like I said, we had those two price targets drawn out, and I definitely think that we're probably going to consolidate between those two areas there too as well. And you can also see that even on our 4-hour chart, we do have some consolidation out here to the side. We have a purple support line also being drawn out for us too, which takes us back to a relatively strong support area all the way back to when we first started blowing past $20,000 or so. So that could definitely act as support for us there too as well. So yeah, folks, so our 4 hours looking okay. 5-hour and 6-hour, still a little bit of rounding money flow, especially on the 5-hour. We do want to be a little cautious here on Cipher B. But yeah, I definitely feel that consolidation is more likely going to keep us down for a little bit longer here in the near term future. We're going to definitely be keeping a close eye on these lower time frames, such as our 15 minute. Our 15 minute still showing money flow in the red as of right now. We're going to wait for a nice recovery here on our 15-minute chart to start to send us back to the zero pivot point with our red money flow, and possibly start getting ready to move back into that greenish money flow, and then maybe take a little long scalp there too as well. I really don't want to put in a short by any chance, because I just think that going against the momentum and against the trend, the overall macro trend, would be a little foolish as of right now. So I'm not going to try and go against that just yet. Obviously, if we start to see some lower signs, that definitely maybe indicates a short, then that's a possibility. But I keep my Patreon members up to date inside of the Discord page, so if you want to join us over there, feel free to. And yeah, we're sitting at about 16 minutes as of right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the dollar and see what's going on over there with the dollar. So we'll take a look at the fiat chart. Fiat chart, yeah, it does look like the dollar is pumping as of right now. So we're starting to sit back up above one of our resistance green trend lines here too as well. And on our 2-hour, we did have our 4-hour that looked like it was ready to start recovering too as well. So it looks like we have the dollar pumping up. I do believe that this is more or less possibly because of the election that is taking place right now, and possibly the reason why Biden's sitting in office too as well. So we're going to start to see maybe the dollar start to recover a little bit more here too. But that definitely will probably mean that Bitcoin's going to continue to consolidate out to the side. The dollar does seem to like it's wanting to push past this green trend line, and also our money flow on our 4-hour is starting to recover too here nicely as well. But overall, for the macro trend of the US dollar, we do have hit still really heavily into our red money flow. Even on our daily chart, we are starting to see a little bit of recovery here. But still more likely we're going to end up seeing maybe a move back to the downside here on the macro trend. We definitely could see a nice little pump and start to see the dollar to recover nicely. But I'm not convinced just yet that the dollar is ready to continue bullish at all. Our macro higher time frames are still showing a lot of red money flow for the most part. So folks, with that being said, definitely looking for some consolidation on Bitcoin. If we start to see a little bit more of a sell-off, then we'll keep you up to date. But with that being said, consolidation more or less inevitable as of right now as the dollar continues to pump. And yeah, with that being said, folks, we're finding this logarithmic trend line here as a little bit of resistance, and a little bit harder to break through than we thought. So consolidation out to the side is inevitable as of right now. Bitcoin performing still relatively well against everything else. So all right, I will stop boring you with that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that way y'all can be updated every single video that we make on this channel. And hit that thumbs up button. Check the links in the description box below. Join us in our trading group page if you're interested. And I'll see y'all on the next one. CTO signing out. Peace.